They thought the enemy was abroad, but the CIA found it living next door. For years, Americans believed their intelligence agencies focused solely on foreign threats. Yet, deep within the CIA, a clandestine operation was underway, turning its gaze inward, scrutinizing its own citizens, and blurring the lines between national security and domestic surveillance. This was Operation Chaos, a secret program initiated in 1967 under President Lyndon B. Johnson. Its stated purpose: to determine if foreign powers were instigating the burgeoning anti-war and protest movements sweeping across the United States. But its scope would quickly expand far beyond that initial mandate. The CIA, by its very charter, was prohibited from domestic intelligence gathering. The National Security Act of 1947 explicitly confined its activities to foreign intelligence. Operation Chaos, therefore, was a direct violation of the agency's founding principles, a profound overreach born from Cold War paranoia. The agency established a special unit, the Domestic Contact Service, ostensibly for debriefing returning travelers. But under Chaos, this unit became a front. Its agents began collecting intelligence on American citizens, compiling dossiers on activists, journalists, and politicians. The initial targets were groups suspected of having ties to foreign adversaries, particularly the Soviet Union or Cuba. But as the anti-war movement gained momentum, the criteria for surveillance loosened. Mere dissent, it seemed, became grounds for suspicion. By 1969, the program had grown exponentially. It employed dozens of agents, both overt and covert, and maintained a vast network of informants. The meticulous collection of data included everything from public speeches to private conversations, often obtained through questionable means. Under the direction of James Jesus Angleton, the formidable chief of CIA counterintelligence, Chaos became a highly centralized and secretive operation. Angleton, a figure often described as brilliant but intensely paranoid, saw communist infiltrators lurking everywhere. Angleton's obsession with ferreting out moles within the agency itself extended to his view of domestic dissent. He genuinely believed that the widespread protests were not organic, but rather orchestrated by hostile foreign intelligence services. The methods employed were varied and intrusive. CIA agents infiltrated student groups, civil rights organizations, and anti-war collectives. They attended meetings, befriended activists, and reported back every detail, no matter how mundane. Mail interception was another common tactic. Thousands of letters, particularly those sent to or from suspected activists, were opened and read. This was a clear violation of postal laws, but the secrecy surrounding Chaos ensured it remained unchecked for years. Electronic surveillance, though less widespread than infiltration, also occurred. Telephones were tapped and conversations recorded. The sheer volume of information collected was staggering, creating a vast, complex web of intelligence on American citizens. The data flowed into a central repository, a massive index of individuals and organizations. By the time the program was finally exposed, the CIA had amassed files on over 300,000 American citizens and nearly 1,000 domestic groups. One of the most disturbing aspects was the sharing of this intelligence. Despite the legal prohibitions, information gathered under Chaos was often disseminated to other government agencies, including the FBI and local police departments. This interagency cooperation meant that the CIA's domestic surveillance, while technically illegal for the agency itself, found indirect avenues to influence law enforcement and potentially suppress dissent across the country. The lack of foreign connections proved to be a consistent problem for Operation Chaos. Despite years of intense scrutiny, the agency found little concrete evidence that foreign powers were directing the American protest movements. Most of the dissent, it became clear, was genuinely homegrown, fueled by widespread opposition to the Vietnam War, civil rights injustices, and other domestic issues. The CIA's efforts largely confirmed what many already knew. Americans were protesting American problems. But the program continued. driven by bureaucratic inertia and the ingrained belief that such extensive surveillance must yield some actionable intelligence, even if it wasn't what they originally sought. The veil of secrecy around Operation Chaos began to fray in the early 1970s. Public revelations about domestic intelligence abuses by the FBI under COINTELPRO started to raise questions about other agencies. The breaking point came with the Watergate scandal. The ensuing investigations into executive branch abuses created an environment where the intelligence community's activities could no longer remain hidden from public and congressional oversight. In 1974, journalist Seymour Hersh published a bombshell article in the New York Times detailing the CIA's illegal domestic operations. Hersh's reporting ignited a firestorm, confirming many of the long-held suspicions about government overreach. The public outcry was immense. Congress responded by forming the Senate Select Committee to study governmental operations with respect to intelligence activities, better known as the Church Committee, chaired by Senator Frank Church. The Church Committee's exhaustive investigation, which included testimony from former CIA officials, laid bare the full extent of Operation Chaos and other abuses. Its final report, published in 1976, was a damning indictment of the intelligence community. The revelations led to significant reforms. President Gerald Ford issued an executive order prohibiting the CIA from engaging in domestic surveillance. New oversight mechanisms were established, aiming to prevent such abuses from ever happening again. Operation Chaos remains a stark reminder of the delicate balance between national security and civil liberties. It underscores the potential for powerful institutions to overstep their bounds when operating in secrecy, unchecked by public scrutiny. To understand the other side of this story, delve into the KGB's own domestic surveillance tactics in our next video.